Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in this video we're looking into how you can use your glycolic acid exfoliant and differential. Now, I do not recommend using them in the same routine, because the longer you're going to do this, the sooner or later you can come across sensitivity, which then would be experiencing redness, stinging, burning, so it becomes uncomfortable to the touch or when applying a product to the skin. And so we're trying to reduce this or avoid this as much as we can. Therefore, if you still want to use both products, you want to get the benefits out of both, my best recommendation would be using them on alternate days. Now, how often you can do this throughout the week depends on your skin tolerance and the exfoliant that you're using, because the formulation and the percentage plays an important role. And so therefore I came up with an example morning and several evening skincare routines that I want to share with you. I want to go over it step by step, include some tips and information to this as well, which is important because overall this combination can be extremely potent. So therefore you need to listen carefully, and when trying this out at home you need to understand the tolerance of your skin and the products that you're using so that you do not come across sensitivity. And so therefore I want to get started with my PowerPoint, which you can see right here. You can see that I have prepared for you several routines, as well as below you can see some general skincare tips, which I'm going to go over by the end of the video, because now I want to keep my focus on example routines. You will be able to download the entire PowerPoint in the description box down below and save it to your device if you want to follow this guide. Now, since glycolic acid and the differential work to some extent in the same ways, like the differential helps to speed up the cell turnover, whereas the exfoliant helps to loosen the dead skin cells on the skin surface, this first of all can reveal the newer skin cells underneath that come forward, and therefore throughout the day the most important step in your morning skincare routine is going to be your sunscreen. Please do not forget this, because if you're not going to use sunscreen throughout the day, if you have sun exposure, it can easily lead to a sunburn, which again is going to damage your skin even further. So again, you're trying to avoid it, therefore don't forget this. But overall, you can see the example routine right here, which is very simple and straightforward. And below you can see the overall general guide based on the products that I have picked, so that you have a guide in mind when trying this out at home. So we are starting off with the morning skincare routine with washing your face. This can be with water only. If that's your usual habit, it works well for you, well, keep on going with it. Or choose a regular, basically gentle cleanser that's suitable for your skin type to properly wash your face. Please avoid exfoliating acid cleansers. The ones that you can see right here are, so to say, regular cleansers for different skin types. So either way is fine. Wash your face, then properly rinse it off, take a towel, remove the remaining water drops on the skin surface, and then move on to the next step. Now the next step is adding hydration to the skin. This can be through a toner, essence, or in these examples with a hydrating serums by The Ordinary, so that you can add hydration to the skin. But this is primarily an optional step because it connects to the cleanser and the sunscreen that you're using. So if you have, for example, dry skin, you're using CeraVe's Hydrating Facial Cleanser and you're using a hydrating sunscreen already afterwards, using the hydrating step in between isn't really necessary. You can add it if you still should feel the need, but most often it isn't needed because you're working already with hydrating products like based on a cleanser and sunscreen guide. However, if you should have a cleanser that's going to properly remove any excess oil from the skin, but at the same time you're working with more of like a mattifying sunscreen or mineral sunscreen, which are less hydrating to some extent, not always, but most often, compared to chemical sunscreens, and you feel the need of adding something hydrating in between, you can go ahead and include this step. So this is very individual, since I do not know what cleanser or sunscreen you're going to use. Therefore, I did want to emphasize it right here. Nonetheless, if you have applied your hydrating toner, essence, or serum to the skin, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Give it a moment to absorb into the skin and then head into your sunscreen step. Now you can see that I came up with 2 examples of sunscreens which I can recommend, which I do like myself. My recommended guide would be going with a mineral sunscreen, because those usually sit on top of the skin surface and do not really influence your hormones, so that you can come across, like, to some extent acne or even skin darkening. However, the downturn with most mineral sunscreens is that they leave a white cast. So the one that you can see right here has a slightly tint to it, which I do really enjoy. So this can be one example if you're looking into this. Nonetheless, chemical sunscreens, or if they have like a mixture of mineral ingredients and chemical ingredients, can work as well. And if I had to pick one, Cosrx Always Soothing Sun Cream would be my favorite one so far, and therefore I've picked those examples. But you can see what I would recommend as well. Now again, the overall general guide of how much you need to use of your sunscreen, you can find it below, to properly and evenly apply it all over to protect the skin from the damaging UV rays, and that you're going to reduce the likelihood of experiencing sunburn based on the products that you're using in the evening. And then there you go with the example morning skincare routine. When it comes to the first evening skincare routine, I want to keep the focus on the exfoliant, which you can see right here. Again, it's a simple 3-step example routine, which you can use, for example, on Monday, Wednesday, and or Friday. Now I'm going to cover the frequency in a moment, and let me just break down the steps and the products that I have chosen. So for your evening skincare routine, depending on the sunscreen that you have picked, you need to adjust your cleansing step as well. If you would have a sunscreen like Cosrx Always Soothing Sun Cream, that one comes off quite easily, therefore your regular cleanser should be enough to properly take it off. However, most often, if you're picking a mineral sunscreen, well, those are a bit more stubborn to remove. This is where your oil or balm cleanser can come in handy. And you can use them on their own, or maybe do a double cleanse if necessary. And therefore you can see the examples that I can recommend right here. Plus you have the guidance on how you can use them below as well. Then when it comes to the exfoliant, you can see I've picked 3 examples with different percentages and formulation. And this is where it becomes important, because the overall formulation and strength can play a significant role on how often you can use your exfoliant throughout the week and how well your skin is able to tolerate. And so I went with Beauty of Joseon AHA Toner, which contains 3% of glycolic acid. So this is the lowest percentage out of my examples. Then we have Paula's Choice Daily Smoothing, 5% AHA exfoliant, or the ordinary glycolic acid 7% toning solution. Now, which one you're going to pick, it depends primarily on your skin tolerance. Some people tolerate ordinary glycolic acid toning solution quite well, whereas for me, for example, it can be quite potent. Therefore, I prefer to use an exfoliant with a lower percentage and more like gentler formulation. And in that specific case, I would choose a different one. But of course, if you're being completely new to a glycolic acid exfoliant in general, you aren't sure which one you should pick, well, you're always like a bit more on the safer side if you're starting off with a low percentage, then going up with a higher percentage, and then you experience stinging right away. Because if you're experiencing stinging or burning right away when applying your glycolic acid exfoliant, it's too potent. And this can be, again, either due to the percentage that's being used or the formulation. And so therefore I have prepared for you like a few examples right here, so that you then can choose one of them when doing the application. So once you have applied it to the skin, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off, because those are leave-on products. Give it a moment to absorb into the skin, and then head into your moisturizer application. Now, when it comes to the moisturizer, well, this one primarily what I can recommend would be a moisturizer that contains natural moisturizing factors, so that it's not going to just seal your skin surface, so that you're going to lose like basically the hydration properties that glycolic acid can give. But at the same time, you're going to work on your skin barrier to strengthen it and to rebuild it, because it contains all those several like elements that the skin basically needs to protect itself and to hold on to water. And so therefore those would be my examples. And again, you can see the general guide below. Now, when it comes to the frequency of your exfoliant and how often you can do this, if you're unsure how often you can use it, based on, since you're combining it with a differential as well, just on different days, I recommend basically, just to be safe, use it once per week at first. So let's say on Monday is your exfoliating acid day, and then on like 2 to 3 times per week of the rest of the week, you're going to work with a differential. And then over time, if your skin is able to tolerate, you can use the exfoliant on Monday, Wednesday, and or Friday. So you can use it then 2 to 3 times per week if that's fine for your skin. And then basically on the other evenings, you're going to head into your retinoid, which then in this case would be the differential, which you here can see, well, then you would use it on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and or Sunday. Now, of course, how often you can use a differential plays a big role as well. Therefore, start off with 2 to 3 times per week before using it 4 times per week. So overall, how often you can basically use your exfoliant and differential, again, plays a big role on your skin tolerance. And you can only figure this out if you're starting off slowly and then slowly increase the frequency over time and still keep on going with the frequency that you're using them on alternate days. Please avoid using them on the same day nor in the same routine. But still, when it comes to the differential application, you can see the cleanser hasn't changed. So again, what I've mentioned already earlier with the cleansing steps still applies to this specific routine. And then you would use about a pea-sized amount of your differential, apply it evenly all over, and then follow with your moisturizer that contains natural moisturizing factors afterwards. Now, of course, depending on your skin type, overall, depending on the moisturizer that you should choose, because I still do not know which moisturizer you're going to use, I just can go with my recommendation. It could be fine, depending on your skin type, to skip the moisturizer. However, if you have a moisturizer that contains natural moisturizing factors, I still recommend following with such a moisturizer afterwards. And then still again, you have the overall general guide below. Now, when it comes to the days when you just want to give your skin a break or where you do not want to use the differential or the exfoliant, well, your routine can just look as simple as this, where you're just going to wash your face with your cleanser and then follow with your moisturizer afterwards. And there you have it. What you can do on days when not using the exfoliant or retinoid. But overall, I just want to quickly emphasize what works best for me is that whenever I'm coming across signs of sensitivity based on a combination that I have done, or because I have used one of the products just a bit too often, because I did then at that point figure out that I cannot tolerate it that often, well then what works best for me is just giving my skin a complete break, where I'm not using anything at all. Like just nothing. Wash your face with water and that's it. Because if you're going to use other products on those specific days, it still could influence based on how fast your skin is healing and to some extent how worse the sensitivity degree is going to be. So I'm just talking about my experience. Give your skin a break of 2 to 3 days, then it should quickly recover. This is at least what works best for me, and then I can again slowly start again with my frequency and my overall skincare routine that I want to follow. So this would be kind of like a side note what works best for me as well, which I can highly recommend. Now, when it comes to the overall tips that I still want to share with you and include into this video as well, just briefly, because you can find everything in the PowerPoint slide as already mentioned. So below the example routines, I do have a category which is called a general skincare tips. And then this, you can find how you can do a patch test, which I can highly recommend. For example, if you're being new to the glycolic acid product, you're unsure how your skin is going to tolerate it or respond to it, well then you can do a patch test before you're going to apply it all over your face and neck. Then understanding the difference between a damp and wet skin, how you can properly wash your face, plus the waiting time, which I have already emphasized in my example routines. I did include some little pictures as well, so that you can see that there is a significant difference which can really influence on how the products perform on the skin and how it layers. Plus I want to emphasize that depending on your skin, you can, after you have washed your face, it does not, it's not really a necessary point to do, but I do want to emphasize it, that after washing your face, you can basically apply the products to damp skin once you understand what damp skin means. Again, removing the remaining water drops from the skin surface. However, if you want to apply the products to dry skin, well, then you can wait between 5 to 10 minutes for your skin to dry and then move on to the application of your glycolic acid exfoliant, or on other days your differential, because then it penetrates slower into the skin and then it's less likely to cause sensitivity. So if you experience sensitivity when applying the products to damp skin, try to wait a bit in between and then apply them to dry skin to see if that works best for you. So this is one point that I want to emphasize since we're already working with those products. Then another point would be basically choosing your skincare products based on your skin concerns. And if the skin concerns are too severe, I always recommend seeing a professional for this. But overall, when setting up a skincare routine that you want to follow, you have to be patient and consistent. Those improvements won't happen overnight, and please be realistic with the results, because those are only topical products. Now, when it comes to skincare peeling, this does not really apply to this specific video because you're not using like too many products in one routine. And once you understand the difference between a damp and wet skin, skincare peeling is less likely to occur. But if you should come across little flakes on the skin surface that ball up, this is basically skincare peeling. And here are the tips on how you can avoid it. And below that, you should also understand the difference between skincare peeling and skin peeling. Because, for example, when using your differential or to some extent your exfoliant, you can come across skin peeling because they help to loosen dead skin cells on the skin surface. But there are other factors that play into this as well, plus certain conditions that play into this as well. So understanding the difference is important so that you then can react to this accordingly. And then below that, you have the sunscreen information, which I highly recommend reading through because it specifically breaks down how important sunscreen is, how you can read the labels of your sunscreen. And I have an application guide for you, plus a removal guide as well, so that you understand how you can properly use your cleansers in this specific case. And below that, you can find the skincare product descriptions, which I have updated as well based on the look. And I do hope that this is going to help you to understand what products that I have picked, for whom they are suitable, and what they are supposed to do for you. And this is basically everything that you can find in my PowerPoint. I do hope that you notice the changes and improvements, and it is going to make now a lot more fun to read through them and understand the setup that I'm trying to present to you. Now, overall, I just want to take a last minute to just emphasize my opinion to this combination as well. Based on how my skin is, for example, like reacting to a glycolic acid product and differential, I do want to emphasize that if you do not tolerate using them on alternate days, my best advice would be just using one of them. So either go with your exfoliant or differential. Most often, the exfoliant can be sometimes the problem, that it's going to be too aggressive for your skin to tolerate because you're already working with the differential for your acne. Therefore, if that should be the case, go with either one of them. If you have acne-prone skin, then of course primarily with your differential. If you're trying to smoothen your skin texture, you just want to get rid of surface hyperpigmentation, or you want to use it for its anti-aging benefits, well then you can just go with exfoliants, still keep the frequency in mind that needs to be adjusted. Or another point would be that you're going to change your exfoliant, that you're going to, instead of using a glycolic acid product, maybe switch to a lactic acid or mandelic acid exfoliant, which are usually gentler on the skin. Or if you should have an oilier skin type, to some extent you could also go with a salicylic acid product. But again, overall the formulation and percentage plays a big role. So those are my last thoughts and experience that I want to share with you. So please keep those points in mind. If this frequency and this alternating combination shouldn't work for you, well then this is basically what you can do instead. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find it helpful. If you did so, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And if you now want to see the different applications, you want to learn more about it, I'm going to leave it at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support my work, well, you're more than welcome, and leave a tip by the super thanks button below this video, or check the PayPal link below the description box, or let's say in the description box. Sorry about that. I would appreciate it a lot. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skin caring. Bye.